Hi dancers, it's Miss Kendra. I'm going to talk to you today about some of the things we talk about in dance class when we are doing our pliés. So pliés are something that you can do anywhere at home. All you need is something to hold on to, like a bench or a banister or the side of your bed or a chair, and you can practice these at home. And since there are so many things to think about when we do our pliés, I'm going to talk you through some of them right now, and then when you're at home you can practice them, so when we get back to the studio your pliés are going to look awesome. So the first thing we need to think about when we do our pliés is that we are in a nice clean first position with our heels together, our knees stretched. So you want to make sure that you feel the muscles pulling up from your kneecaps all the way up the top of your legs, so they're super straight to start with. So we're going to open our arms up and out to a la seconde. And when we do that, we're going to do a demi-plié, our arms float down. Now when you do that plié, there are a lot of things we talk about how to make it look just right. And so one of those things is that we are going to pretend that we are bread in a toaster. Now you don't have to be bread, you could be like a muffin. No, you can't be a muffin, I guess, but you could be a bagel, or you could be a waffle, or you could be like a Pop-Tart, or whatever you want that goes in the toaster. So I'm going to be cinnamon toast, and I'm going to be cinnamon toast, and I'm going to go in the toaster, and I'm going to make sure that as I do my plié that I am not sticking out my booty or sticking my chest forward, because what happens is if I go down the toaster like that, I am going to get burnt, and the toast is going to come out all burnt and black, and it's going to taste bad, or you're going to have to scrape it all off, and we don't want that. So as you do your pliés, you have to make sure that you are kind of tucking your booty underneath you. So when you go down, you're going straight down and straight back up, instead of going out and doing like a squat. So when we do like squats, which is kind of like a plié, you can stick your booty out. That's okay, but not in pliés. It's totally different, okay? So not squats. Another thing that we want to think about when we do our pliés is that when we come back up, we are putting our heels down really gently on the floor. So as we do our plié and we come back up, I don't want to see you slam your heels down. Instead, we're going to be very gentle. We're going to press our heels down into the floor like we're putting a stamp on the floor, like pressing a stamp, and back up. What we don't want is to make our heels heavy into the floor, and like we want to imagine that there are like some baby chicks or something underneath our heels. So as we are coming up, we're going gently back down instead of slamming our heels down, because we don't want to hurt those baby chicks. Now, another thing to think about in your pliés is your tummy. You want to make sure that your tummy is really tight and use those muscles really strong. So the muscles in your tummy actually wrap all the way around your body to your back too. So all of these muscles, you want to be nice and tight and strong. Now, one way to think about that is to think of what does it feel like, or what do you do when somebody comes up to tickle you? If someone comes up to tickle me, I go, oh, and I like tense up my tummy really tight, and I use my tummy muscles because I don't want to be tickled. I really don't like to be tickled. So if you do that too, that's kind of the same feeling. So what we don't want to do is suck our tummy in. That is totally different. When I suck my tummy in, do you see how my shoulders come up? We don't want that, okay? Instead of sucking in, we just want to tighten and make it really strong. So you should feel those muscles really tight in your abs. So if someone's about to tickle you, make it really tight so you can like knock on your belly. So that is something that you want to think about the whole time that you're doing your pliés, that your tummy is tight. Now the last thing to think about is your arms, okay? So our arms, even though in ballet they're always really nice and graceful and floaty, we actually are really using a lot of muscles to keep our arms strong. We don't want them to be limp and weak, right? So sometimes when we do pliés in dance class, I see arms that look like this. This is not good. This is like a chicken wing, and we don't like that, right? Instead, you want to always make sure that you are lifting up underneath your elbows so that your arms are strong and lifted and floating. So you always have like a breath underneath your elbows, right? One way to think about that is to, as you lean forward, you should have like a rainbow in your arms. That means your elbows are lifted. Another way to think about that is that you always want your elbow to point behind you. You don't want it to point down to the floor. So if your elbows are pointing down to the floor like this, that's bad news. Instead, you want them to point up and behind you. So now my elbows are pointing behind me, right? So those are some of the things that you can think about when you do your pliés. And when you practice at home, you can do it just like we do in dance class. So we do a demi-plié, another demi-plié, and then we do a big grand plié. And you'll do that in 4 positions. First position, second position, skip third position. You guys know Miss Kendra does not like third position. And then you can do 5th position and 4th position also. So practice those at home, and those are some tips and tricks to think about. So when you get back to dance class, everyone's gonna be looking great. I can't wait to see you all. Mwah!